So yesterday, I posted a video about Andrew's policy and the universal basic income policy, okay? And a lot of people didn't get through the entire video, so they commented and asked me a lot of questions and told me a lot of things that I already had discussed in the video. Now, for the people that actually got through the entire video, they actually commented and we had a very good, conversation about every single detail in the comments down below, right? And I actually like discussing the conversation with them and the topic because it's very interesting to me, okay? Now, before I even get to the video and discussing all the facts to what I'm saying, to why what I'm saying actually makes sense, right? Well, I want to discuss something first, right? This is not a politics channel. This is not a news channel. This is a financial channel, okay? So I come here to talk about personal finance and empowering people through information, because if you give people more money, it doesn't solve the underlying problem of them not having the information to actually know what to do with that money and how to create more wealth, okay? That's what this channel is about. So what I'm talking about is that entire topic. That's my underlying topic. That's my underlying message throughout all my videos. That's what I do, okay? So here's the first thing I want to talk about, and that's why every single person is basically here, right? It's the universal basic income and why I think it's not really the best thing possible. And even if you do it, you can do it and it can help some people. Yes, that's true. But even if you do it, it won't fix the underlying problem, which is people not having enough information about finance and actually getting ahead in life. And let's talk about some things, right? Now, the first thing I want to talk about, guys, and by the way, every single thing that I'm saying in this video, you can literally go in the description down below, look it up through those articles that I posted, and actually do the research and actually read the entire article so you can actually get the big picture to what I'm saying, okay? I know that maybe like 10% of people would actually do that. 90% of people, I probably lost them already, okay? Because they're not going to watch the entire video. They're just going to comment down below and say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. But you're not watching the entire video. You're not reading the articles. You're just going based on opinion. I'm not here to base this information on opinion. I'm here to base it on facts, okay? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is how the average person might make $30,000 a year and they spend $40,000 a year. What does this mean? That people are spending more money than they're earning, right? So if people are spending more money than they're earning, and you give them an extra $12,000, right? Now that you went from $30,000 to $42,000 a year, you think that's gonna fix the issue, And that's the main thing I really want to discuss when it comes to this universal income thing, okay? It's not gonna fix the issue. Why? Because the problem isn't the money, the problem is the person itself, and the problem is the habit. It's not because that person is stupid, dumb, or dull. It's because they don't have the right information. Why? Because they were never taught the information in school, through their parents, and through anything. And the only way these days you can actually get a spark in finance is by finding some video either from Gary Vee or from Grant Cardone or from Dave Ramsey. From either of these people, you find a little video, and once you watch that video, you get the spark. And that's how your success starts. But it shouldn't have to be a spark, because I can ask every single person in America, well, who founded America? Well, Christopher Columbus. Well, it was already discovered by Indians, okay? Every single person knows that, but no one knows anything about balancing checks and balances, about financial freedom, how much money is it going to take you to earn passively so you can actually quit your job. Nobody knows that information because no one taught it to you. So if you give a person $12,000, $50,000 a month, it doesn't matter, because they're still going to be in debt, because they're just going to find new things to actually spend the money on. Now, I do want to discuss some statistics, because every single person out there thinks that I'm basing this all on opinion, but I'm really not, okay? I'm really basing it on facts, on things that I found, on articles and research papers that I actually found. The reason that I based all my information on articles is because when I did a little PhD program at the University of Pittsburgh, okay, it taught me that everything is research and you need to back up everything you say, even if it's common sense, because the average sense is not common, okay? So I just want to make sure you guys understand that. So everything I'm saying, all the details that I'm saying is down in the description down below, so you can search it up and read it and get the big picture on your own, okay? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is how the average household has a debt of around $5,700, okay? That means that the average person is in debt $5,700. The problem isn't the money. The problem is the habits. They buy liabilities. They buy cars. They buy things that they don't need. The average person is renting, not building up equity, okay? But that's not the only thing I want to talk about. I'm going to build a little portfolio here of what's actually going on, okay? So the average person, right, the average household has a debt of around $5,700, right? On top of that, 69% of people have a savings accounts of around less or equal to $1,000. 34% of people have no savings accounts, okay? And on top of that, around 16 million households in America have a negative net worth, okay? So I really want to ask you this question, right? Because this is the same issue that I've been talking about for a while. Do you think that the problem is the money? Do you think that that's going to solve the issue? Do you think if you receive $20,000 extra a year in cash, that's going to actually solve the problem for these people? The answer is no. And Tommy, what do you have to back this up, right? Well, basically, look at this, right? It's a very simple example because I like doing things simply because you might think you're very smart or whatever, but not every single person out there is smart. So I like simplicity over like complicating things because it's very hard to, explain something when it's like super complicated, unless you know the basics, right? So that's why I'm explaining the basic thing right here. Basically, if you notice when people, and there's articles posted about this like all over the internet, okay? If you look it up, an average person that wins money, like either like through the lottery, and when they win money, right? In 3 to 5 years after those winnings, like you would find them in the same exact place that they were before. The reason is because they're not comfortable in dealing with so much money, and what they end up doing is buying a whole bunch of liabilities. Now, to go even a step further than that, right? Every single year, people that have kids, they get a tax credit, right? Every single year when they get that tax credit, they spend that money straight into Best Buy and buying TVs and stuff like that, right? So the underlying issue isn't the money. This $12,000 a year won't fix the issue. What will fix the issue is sharing more financial details, sharing more things about finance, personal finance, how to actually deal with yourself. And I really want to tell you guys a quote, right? And for the people that are watching at this point, you guys are probably understanding what I'm saying, right? So here's the thing, right? I heard this quote, right? It was a CEO and a CFO talking to themselves, right? CEO is the chief executive officer. CFO is the financial officer, right? That's the person that's in charge of the finance part, and this is the person that's in charge of the business, right? Well, basically, the CEO tells the chief financial guy, he tells them, well, we need to work on investing more into our employees, right? And if we invest more into our employees, then they can be like better and more productive, and they can actually have more information to like have more tools to actually do their job better. The financial officer says, well, that's a great idea, but if we do that, what happens if they leave? Okay. And then the CEO says, well, what happens if they stay and they stay the same? It's not going to help the company out. And that's where the quote ends. And this is what I want to say when it comes to this, right? Subsidizing things doesn't work, okay? You subsidize student loans, you make it from either 4 to 6% all the way down to 3%. It doesn't work because at the end of the day, when people graduate, they still have loans, And at the end of the day, when you subsidize milk, when you subsidize a whole bunch of things like the government is already doing, it doesn't really help because it doesn't fix the underlying issue that people can't afford it and that people don't have the knowledge to actually know how to actually better themselves, okay? So this is my thing, right? Tommy, how do we fix this and how can we actually make something actually work? Now, if schools and curriculums and colleges were forced, right, to actually teach you about personal finance and actually teach you about freedom and actually teach you every single detail about becoming and building passive income, I believe that the average person between the ages of 40 to 50 won't have any issues when it comes to finance, By that time, you should already be finance free. Like, you should already be financially free, right? And let me tell you this, guys, right? Because most of you guys are probably going to say, Tommy, you might think that this is normal, like what you do, or that you have a lot of information. Every single person is going to get that information. I don't think it's normal, but I also don't think that it's like something that you're born with, okay? I know people that make $30,000, people that make $60,000, people that make $130,000, all the way up to people that make $10 million a year. These are people that I talk to on a regular basis. These are people that I know personally, okay? They make a ton of money. And the only thing that they share in common is that this person all the way here at $30K, right? And the person at $10 million, well, this person still saves a very large percent of their income, maybe like around 50 to 60% of their income, and then they work on their 40% of the income goes to their expenses and stuff like that, right? How can it do that? Because of information. Giving people more money won't fix the issue of information. Now, the second thing I want to talk about in this video is the entire thing when I said in the video, well, what happens if it goes from opting in to becoming a standard, right? What I meant by this is that, by the way, if you watch the entire video, you could obviously see that it was a theory, right? It was a what happens if moment. It's not if, oh my gosh, it is going to happen. That's not what I meant. But imagine that if it goes from you have to sign up for it to receive this $1,000 to, hey, it's a standard. No more welfare, no more food stamps, no more anything. It's just gonna be a standard. And if you go into the description down below, I have an article that tells you the average mom, right? That's a single mom receives like maybe between $30,000 in benefits a year, right? From welfare, like food stamps, like cash, a whole bunch of things, right? They receive like around $30,000. So imagine if that becomes like from opt-in to standard, like they would completely lose out on all of their benefits. And that's what I meant. It was a theory. It's not a fact, okay? Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is one of the most interesting and funnest things that I like to do. It's kind of like discuss the comments a little bit, right? Now, I don't just want to talk about the negative comments because if the people, by the way, the video got around 39 dislikes and 4 likes, okay? So for the people that were actually brave enough to actually like that video, I commend you, okay? That means you watched the entire video. That means you actually saw what I was actually saying, okay? And you're very brave not to follow the entire trend. Now, I do want to talk about a few comments. that were actually posting about people that actually wanted to like talk about conversation. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk about is about Koi and Dragon. We actually had a very good conversation about the entire like universal basic income thing, and we actually spoke about it, so that was great. And then I had one other person here, and his name was My Brain Vent, right? I think My Brain Vent. Great conversation, great statistics, great things to back your entire information on. I like the entire conversation we had. Now, we had some people here that only focus on the entire issue that I did not pronounce his last name correct. I said Yang, I think I said Yan, right? I said Yan, and that's how you actually pronounce it in Chinese. And if you put it into the Google Translator, that's how it will actually translate it. I did not use the entire like American like pronunciation. I used the Chinese pronunciation, and I did it by accident, by the way, because I just sounded it out because it's basically just like pronunciation. It's not rocket science. So people that focus on only that fact that I like said it not in the American way, come on, guys. Like, we're actually discussing like the future of the country, and you want to focus on a last name. I don't want to even talk about that, okay? And one last thing that I want to focus on, I'm going to give this one more minute, okay? One last thing that I want to focus on is that a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, there was literally one person out there that told me, well, Tommy, watch this video. It's actually very interesting, okay? I watched the video, and it was basically some guy saying, you know, America sees us as participants, not as owners, okay? If you're owners, then you receive a cut from the money that's made, okay? Now, what I want to say is this, right? How I responded to that comment was, and by the way, basically what he meant is that, you know, we are owners of America, so we deserve to get a dividend every single year from America, okay? I guess he thinks that, you know, people are investing every single day in the economy by spending on the economy, but that's not really like investment. That's just spending money. If you want to invest, then you invest into the stock market and into business and stuff like that, right? Now, what he says is this, Tommy, you don't want to give people control. He told me that when people receive this dividend, right, most people will spend it, most people will save it, right? And here's what I want to say to that, right? That's not true. It's not going to balance out. It's not a statistic that just goes like, you know, like right down the middle, like, oh, half will spend it, half will save it. It's like it averages out good and evil. That's not how it works. If you look at the statistics, every single person, like most of the people in America don't know anything about finance. Like, they're in debt, okay? They don't have any safety net, okay? They don't have any backup. They don't have any savings accounts. They don't have anything to fall back on, right? So when you say that people are going to receive this $1,000 and they don't need information to actually help them, well, you're wrong. And that's basically what I have to say about it. You're wrong. That's not how it works, okay? So here's how I would want this to be fixed. Here's how I think it would actually work. By the way, guys, remember, I'm not a politician. I'm not going to be talking politically correct. I'm talking based on facts and also like my input, right? From being an entrepreneur and from knowing so much information, okay? I've managed to build a business that gives me like around a 60% return on my money every single year. And I have a net worth that maybe the average, like maybe 50 to 60-year-old person in America doesn't even have, okay? So I know what I'm talking about a little bit, all right? So here's my thing, right? If you put in this entire system, right, when people have to opt in to receive this $1,000, don't just give it to them. Have them be required to take maybe a 3-month class or course on personal finance and actually building themselves up, right? Because every single thing about finance in this country is all about chance. I don't hear about any single person that tells me, well, Tommy, my parents taught me about finance, right? Or when I was in school, I learned about finance. Nobody really tells you that. Every single story is kind of like, oh, I saw a Gary Vee video, I saw a Grant Cardone video, I saw a Dave Ramsey video, and then it sparked something in me, and then I started learning about it. But everything else, when it comes to the public system, when it comes to the public educational system, you know, all these facts that no one cares about, you don't use after you graduate. You don't even use most of the information after you graduate from college either. You know, so I want, like, if you're going to put this entire system in for 1K and you have to opt in for it, I want it to be a requirement for that person to get a 3-month, like, personal finance training or, like, course on it so they can actually learn, right? And this is my thing, right? Most people, maybe 90% of people will go in there and they won't learn anything, okay? Because they're not focused on that. They just focus on getting some extra money. But for that 10% of people that go in there and they get this spark and they actually want to help themselves, then it's actually going to help them more. And trust me, for the person that's like financially free, $1,000 a year doesn't make a difference for them. Why? Because it's just like, all right, just throw it in the bucket. It's just more money, okay? And for people that make 30K, want to make excuses, 40K, want to make excuses, people that make $500,000 out there are still in debt. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys understand that it's not about how much money you make. It's not how much money the government gives you. It's about what you do with the money and what you use it for. Okay, it's all about personal finance. It's all about freedom. I'm not a politician. I am a person that talks about finance, and my job is to spark your brain when it comes to that. So go ahead, read a book, okay, about finance. Empower yourself, because if you make 30K, 40K, 50K. By the way, guys, there was a point in my life where I was making $60 a week. $60 a week. and I still managed to save 10% of my income. That was $6. And from that $60 a week, I managed to make a lot more money. Not because I was saving money, but because I figured out a way to make more money. I did that through personal finance and actually growing myself. You can do the exact same thing. As you can tell, you're probably smarter than I am, maybe even like super smart or whatever, okay? But that's not what matters. It's about the information that you don't have, all right? I'll see you guys next time on the next video. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and comment down below if you disagree with anything I said, and comment down below about anything, okay? I want to have like good conversations with people that actually watch the video, so I'm always down for conversation. If you don't agree with me, comment. I'm still gonna respond because I still want to get your opinion, and I still want to learn more, okay? That's my whole point in life, learning more. I'll see you guys next time on the next video, and peace.
You've got to start at the bottom if you're ever gonna reach the top. You've gotta watch all the seeds you sow. Don't